Welcome, jesters. I know, I do have a life. Let's try and speed these up a little bit. I'm finally going to talk about Cracker Barrel, but not about the whole Cracker Barrel controversy. I'm sure everybody knows about this, but I just want to point out that this is a pattern that we have seen before. One of the things we are so fond of making fun of in our friends on the left is their rather silly notion that they're the ones that can get it right. We hear this every time we point out that there are no actual successful leftist economic or social policies, and when we point out the failure of attempts at implementing these leftist social and economic policies on a mass scale in certain nations, Cuba, Venezuela, North Korea, various African republics or whatnot, we point out that they are failures, complete failures, abject failures, leading to death and starvation and all sorts of, entirely predictable consequences. And then their response is, of course, that wasn't real socialism. That wasn't real communism. We know how to do it right. We're the ones that can get this right. We're the ones that can get this government program right. But they never do. This is why we make fun of them by pointing out that everything they ever try fails, right? Well, this is what we have with Cracker Barrel. Now, we don't really know. I mean, I haven't heard much about the political leanings of the female CEO. Yeah, I did point that out. But I think we can guess, just based on her attitude and the glasses and everything like that, yeah, she doesn't have MAGA hats in her closet, that's for sure. And what we saw is your typical leftist behavior pattern, right? She wanted to rebrand the company, despite the failure of a number of different recent rebrands. TGI Fridays, I think, was the last one to really try something like this, go with the muted kind of flat look, and it didn't work. Did not work at all. There's a fast food chain that kind of also tried it. People hated it. You could even say the X rebrand, the Twitter rebrand to X was, I think people are kind of getting used to it, but I don't know. I kind of still say tweet. Sorry, Elon, but that's just the way it is. And I'm sure that she thought, she knew in her heart of hearts that she could get this right, that she was the person who could pull off a successful corporate rebrand like this. And it did not work. It did not work. And apparently now she was warned that it would not work. Investors warned them, and members of the board warned them, and I don't know who else, might have warned them. But yeah, no, this was kind of obvious. But I'm absolutely 100% sure that she thought that she was the one to get it right. Like every other lefty nitwit that is so honestly self-absorbed that they think they can get it right. They know the secret sauce. If only they were listened to, yeah, they're the ones that can get this right. No. So are we going to add corporate rebranding to the list of leftist philosophies that never work? Maybe we should, because they just seem to not work. Now, mind you, I am aware that other companies have sort of tried to alter their image, update their logo. This is actually very common. They do a brand refresh, a very mild brand refresh, and they do it over time. If you look at the corporate logo for some of the big names that we know, like Microsoft, it's completely different than what used to be in the past. But they actually did this over years and years, and actually, even the current the window thing, it's not that much different, right? Sometimes it was curved, sometimes it wasn't. They changed the colors here and there. Google, they changed the font, and they lightly change the color palette. A lot of corporations go through these brand refreshes for various reasons. That's fine, but yeah, what Fridays did, what Cracker Barrel did, that's not how you save your business. Now I'm hearing that the food is actually pretty bad. I remember the last time I was at a Cracker Barrel. I don't know when this was. I think it was around 2004, 2005, perhaps. That was the last time I was in a Cracker Barrel. So I really have no idea. But it doesn't really matter. They're going back. At least she listened to somebody tell her to do this. But yeah, that's it. We just have another case of a leftist thinking that they're the ones that can get this right. Just like every other leftist failure in the past. That's all. That's right. I'm right.